Welcome back to Tiempo. Hundreds of undocumented children separated from their families after authorities caught them illegally crossing the border. Many of those children are here in New York City. Joining us this morning, attorneys and good friends of ours, Jose Perez and Chris Cabanillas, both immigration attorneys. Welcome to you both. Chris, let me ask you this, because the president has often used this term, catch and release. And it refers to people illegally crossing, right? Caught. Right. And then later released into the country for one reason or another because of the process that they have to go through is so long and detailed.
That's correct.
That's what he wanted to avoid through zero tolerance.
Right. Well, that's what he's trying to stop. He's trying to stop that, right? Okay. And so, because people would come in here and they'd be allowed to have entry into the United States to go through the legal process during that time. And so he's trying to stop that. And, you know, by separating these parents, he's trying to put sort of the pressure on that.
Because I think his argument was, oh, people just want to get into the country. Right. And once they're here, then their work is done. But are there numbers that indicate those people actually do follow up on the process?
Absolutely. There's overwhelmingly, there's about 98% of those who get put into the process here of those deportation go to court, go through the process, and do what they need to do to try to prove their case in court.
One of the things that the president has been pushing for and using sometimes families as a method to pressure Congress to pass immigration reform. Do you think what's been happening lately will step up through the Senate and through the House and get the legislation that's needed to solve this problem once and for all?
No. Most of the proposed bills that have been reviewed in the House, the Goodlatte bill that was rejected last week or voted not approved, and then the revised Ryan bill this week. Again, it still seeks to build the wall, increase enforcement at the border. Still does not address really the issues of family reunification, expanded family migration, and what he's trying to do is use the Dreamers, the DACA recipients, as hostages. Like, gee, we'll allow them some pathway to some type of legalization, but I want all X, Y, Z, A, B, C. So no, I don't think, you know, hopefully our real leaders in Congress will.
I see you nodding your head. Certainly not till the November elections. I would think you don't see anything.
Look, I see everything that's happening in the courts right now going his way, and I think all the roadblocks for his stopping of the Dreamers Act and all the rest of that, that's going to be lifted. It's going to be a 5-4 vote on that. We're next going to have a social media uproar about Dreamers being deported. That's what's going to happen next, I think. And then maybe by executive order, he's going to come in as the big hero again and say that he's trying to stop it again.
Jose, let me ask you this, because so many of the people who endure a journey of hundreds of miles coming from Central or South America through Mexico get to the border, and they want to go through a designated entry point, and then they're turned away. So my question for you is, what are the options for families who've risked life and limb when they get to a designated entry point, want to do things the right way, and are told, we can't, there's not enough room right now, sit tight?
So, really, what other options? Again, there have been reports that families there waiting, camped out because they're only taking a few families at a time to interview them at these designated entry points. And so there's really no option. If you hear the stories of, like, the violence, the murders of the families, the attacks, the sexual assaults, they're fleeing horrific, horrendous situations in their native country. We should be doing more to help address address the underlying root causes or issues of violence, trafficking that are happening in those countries, instead of criminalizing a whole cadre of brown folks. And that's what it is. It's basically, we don't look like the president, we don't look like his family, we don't want them coming in.
So it's 10 cities on the Mexican side of the border, right? Because people who've journeyed can't get in.
And they're sitting, waiting till, like, it's like, waiting for my number to be called.
A lottery. To come across the border. So what's the answer, Chris? I mean, either stop referring people for prosecution or resume community-based supervision programs, which is how it used to be, monitor those people who were released. From what I understand, those programs have either been underfunded or don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I say, look, you gotta put more resources in. I mean, certainly try to help these people along. But again, I don't think that the system is broken. To say that, this catch and release is leading to all this crime that's here and, all this bad stuff is, I think it's baloney. I think the reality is that what's happening right now is not the end of the world and should continue.
Gentlemen, thank you both. It's an issue that's not going our way anytime soon. Appreciate the insight for both, and we'll have you back next time when we'll rehash it all over again. So, thank you. Coming up next on Tiempo, Catholic Latino leaders will gather this fall to discuss ways to strengthen how they respond to the communities they serve. Stay with us. That's next on Tiempo.